Training wheels for sure.
Start walking like me.
And they have an odd name.
That's right.
I have no clue. Thank you.
Would you check your package and see if I
I
put
know,
one of these in
I know.
there?
But on the flip side,
I can't remember. Yesterday, I remember making these, and I just can't remember.
yeah, that's in these times.
You do? Okay.
Absolutely. I understand. I understand. If it's that big a deal, change for you.
I had to take them out fast,
So,
and then
yeah, we got some,
I
we
can't
got some
remember.
comments.
Joe, how you been doing? How's the family? I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Another lease.
Yeah. It's,
Mine ain't I got
are
one.
we up? All right, it is
Got
10
COVID.
o'clock, so we are Facebook Live. Mr. Beatty, come on over. We are live online, so, good morning to everyone. Alderman Carver is on the line, so.
Good morning, Carver.
We have, 4.
Hey, good to hear you. Good to see you.
Yeah, Alderman Carver's on the line. We know Alderman Walker has a class at this point in time, and Vice Mayor Perkins is not in attendance as well. So this is our group. We do not have a presentation of any kind. I understand that this coming Tuesday is going to be an interesting evening. So I think everybody wants to get in and take care of business and then get on out of there. So I'm hopeful that we will be able to put as much as possible that is reasonable and possible on the consent agenda and move along, and everyone have a great weekend, and we won't even think about Alabama. Mr. Latimer is on the video conference with us, and he wanted to say something. So, Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor and Board, I just wanted to thank everyone for their thoughts, prayers, and well wishes over the last 2 weeks. I've heard from the mayor and all the aldermen and all the department heads, and y'all's touch outs and reach outs have just warmed my heart so much. I've learned a couple of lessons over the last 2 weeks, and one is, of course, wear your helmet. I was wearing mine, but I still had a full-blown concussion, and so had I not had that helmet on, I don't know if I'd have been sitting here. And then 2, don't underestimate the severity of a head injury. I underestimated mine. I thought I was back in the saddle late last week, and I went back to work this Monday and had a real good setback that put me in the hospital overnight for 2 nights this week. And so we've got a good plan in place now, a kind of structured recovery under the care of a neurologist. So I'm on the road to recovery. But I just wanted to sum up by saying that, I'm someone to which routine matters. And my routine is to be with y'all on a Friday morning. So I wanted to be with y'all this morning and kind of take that as one step back on the road to recovery. So great to see y'all. I appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers.
All right, you're very welcome, Chris. We're glad to have you back, and we also, when we have a void like that, we feel it pretty quickly, so we know how important you are. So that succession plan that you're talking about, we're going to set that up, right?
A little depth on the bench.
Yep,
That's right.
There you go. There you go. All right, quarterback sideline. We need a little bit of help sometimes, but we appreciate your efforts to come back. And I'm sorry it set you back for a couple of days, but we will take care of you from here on out and make sure you're not too overwhelmed. And with that,
Sounds good. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. With that in mind, we're not going to have, as I mentioned, a presentation today. So what we're going to do is go through the agenda. We had our work session this week, and so I think that was a productive work session. And I've been working on resolutions that we craft for the legislature. So aside from that, we'll just go through our agenda, and we'll start with first thing we've got up here is going to be our 2 sets of minutes. And Chris, I understand that since these are work session minutes, they are all good to go.
Yes, ma'am. I've reviewed those. Those look good.
Okay, all right. So can we get consent on those? All right, thank you. I don't have anything necessarily that I intend to speak on, so unless someone has something they want to put under comments for posterity. I see Ms. Sistra smiling big.
Under my mask. Too late Tuesday night, but this morning, if there's anybody out there, please go vote. If you are eligible to vote absentee, if you're out of town that day, if you're over 65, if you have a work conflict that doesn't let you get there from 7 to 7, if you happen to be married to a state or executive, rather a federal legislator, there are a variety of reasons you're allowed. You can vote today, at the circuit clerk's office. You can vote tomorrow morning at the circuit clerk's office. Can they vote Monday?
Until noon?
Until noon.
Yeah, it
tomorrow
ends
morning.
tomorrow at noon.
Ends
Yeah.
tomorrow at noon. And so that's one way to avoid crowds, but Tuesday you can vote in person, and if you haven't voted already, please make a plan and go vote.
Yep, should be interesting. I'm gonna be fascinated to see how many is standing in line, because I'm gonna go vote in line. I think that's gonna be interesting.
The early vote has been huge.
Yeah,
so.
it has been. This is a
Been
remarkable
huge,
time.
been huge. I know I was over there the other day. She said 50% of people already
Yeah.
voted. I mean, it just.
Well, let me remind people of Mississippi, that just because we think it's great here, I saw last week in the New York Times that 5% of people in the state of Mississippi pre-voted, if they voted early. As a comparison, state of Arkansas, 44% of people in the state of Arkansas already voted. So we don't have the laws in place to allow us to do that like other states. We
Exactly.
need the laws in place to allow us to do it like other states. Nationwide, 56% of people in the United States that voted in the 2016 election have already voted. We just behind, like we always behind on stuff. So, I'd like to see the legislature take that up.
There you go. That's your legislator. Talk to him.
I'm just saying, if we don't discuss it,
We're gonna get you to run for legislature.
if we don't discuss in meetings, in significant places like this, on TV cameras where I don't know how many several hundred people watching us, then it doesn't, we need to be proactive in supporting stuff like that in our state.
Sure. Okay. All righty. Well, having said that, let's see. We have several public hearings. Actually, we have 4 public hearings. One of them is going to be an exception for an accessory dwelling unit, and those were heard by the BOAA last night or the day before yesterday?
By the P&Z.
P&Z, I'm sorry.
On October 13th.
Okay, and they had no issues with this?
No, they have
Okay.
made a recommendation.
Okay, and these are all going to be public hearings, so we obviously can't put them on consent, but we can certainly learn about them a little bit. And playgrounds associated with the daycare, that one's on Whitfield Street.
Yes.
Anything specific about that one?
Yes, the BOAA reviewed it the day before yesterday, and they made the 2 conditions. One is set the screen around the area, and the second one is the structure. Because the playground area will have now canopy area, so they are telling that they need to be reviewed by the architecture, the review committee.
For the canopy?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then we have a side yard setback for a carport. That one's on Roundhouse Road. I'm familiar with that one. There is no side yard, so they wanted to put it out front. And the BOAA heard that one?
Yes.
And no
They
issues
made a
with that one?
recommendation, yes.
Okay, all right. And then, last but not least is Tanglewood. This is gonna be our 21-19-11 for Tanglewood. And
Mayor, where's Tanglewood?
Tang-
Is that my- is that my
Tanglewood is, Timber Cove, is it not?
That's what I thought.
Edgewood? I'm sorry, Edgewood, okay. So it is,
Oh, okay.
so that's your area.
Tanglewood. Okay, up at the end, across Van Langham's and that area. Which part we're talking about?
Is it, it's overgrown grass?
It's on the north. It's actually in your.
I know, but I'm talking about which specific piece of property is it?
108 Tanglewood. So it's, I think it's overgrown grass, right?
It's right on the edge of the street.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So anyway, again, those are public hearings, so we can't do anything further with those. This is our extension of the local emergency, again, for us to allow us to continue to receive the federal funding. So this is kind of what we've been doing. Thank you.
Go back to the public hearing on properties. It lists 108 Tanglewood and 203 McKinley Street.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just wanted to be sure we called both of them out.
Yeah, McKinley, well, I'm sorry, I thought I had. McKinley is in Alderman Vaughn's ward. You're familiar with that property, right, Alderman Vaughn? Yes, okay.
Mayor, while we're talking about this, I mean, because it needs to be kind of, we're handing the code enforcement department to the police. I mean, that's become part of the
It
police
is,
department.
yes.
So right now, and I talked to Dr. Kim a little bit, it's kind of in transition, but where do, if we have a code violation we got to address right now,
We
we're
don't-
not talking police department or what?
Well, we're sort of letting the two departments deal with one another, but because there are still aspects of it that go through the community development, but right now, we don't have a code enforcement officer, so we are having to, Chief Ballard is using his people who are designated under that heading of Brooks. Is it community-oriented policing? He's not here. The community-oriented policing side is using those folks to take the pictures and do the things we need to do.
Is Jeff not
No.
working?
No.
Of course, McCaskey's over in another department.
He is, and we've got advertisings out for code enforcement, but we haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, and they're still looking at the applications.
Thank you.
Fortunately, we're not much in the grass growing time again.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So why, since you own that convenience store right there on the corner of, what that is, corner something.
Montgomery and Green Hill.
Right, that convenience store. Why is all that stuff around that convenience store?
I haven't been up there recently, but it is frequently a problem.
It's need cleaning up. Man, I got mattress out back there, set up there at the back, and it just.
North Montgomery, break where you turn, that street turns
Right,
right, yeah.
yeah, going to the nursing home right there.
Yeah,
And also, they smoke in that store. I know, we don't supposed to have no smoking inside.
we do not.
Well, those
Okay.
employees be in.
All right, I'll make a note.
Make a note of that. That store need cleaning up.
Okay.
It's in bad
Again,
shape.
it is frequently a problem, and we touch base with them on a not too infrequent basis. So, all righty, North Montgomery, got it. All righty. Okay, the next one is, essentially, we have not had the decline that we thought we were going to have in sales tax. It has, while it's not necessarily rebounded to the extent that we are made whole, it has stabilized and come back to a certain extent. And so, for those who were willing to take pay cuts, this is an opportunity for us to provide them, make them whole again over a period of time. So that's what this is about. And so I am hopeful that the board will see that as an opportunity to make our department heads in particular whole at a time when they stepped up for us when we asked them to.
Mayor, how much revenue, actually, and maybe sister, Bob's sister, how much revenue are we down, or were we through the end of our general fund in the 19 budget?
We had
20 budget, excuse me.
We had two months where we were down from the prior months that accounted for about $130,000. We had expected it to be a good bit more than that, but it's my thought that the stimulus effects of the $1,200 checks and the unemployment kept us from hitting bottom, and that we saw things transitioning from one area of business to another. Instead of eating out, people were buying groceries, that sort of thing. So we made our best guess when the pandemic started, and right now we're clicking along fairly consistent with prior year. We have not seen yet the impact of the football season because the last check we got reflected August numbers. So this next check, which will be mid-November, will be our first check that I think we will see a significant step back because we won't have the football revenue that we
General
normally see.
sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not an enormous hit. A couple of them come out of enterprise funds. The one that comes out of the general fund is in your packet is the
My
amount.
suggestion gonna be, wasn't against that, I'm for that, I just, that instead of phasing, we go ahead and restore people their full.
Well, that has happened. This is to replace that gap where they did take the pay cut. So it's a temporary thing just to do
I'm in full
that.
support of that, I want it to happen, as quickly as possible, we get people back, make people whole.
Yeah, we'll do it as they were not compensated. We will do it along the same scale. So as opposed to all at once. So
Consent.
you consent for that? Well, thank you. We'll hope that will work. Alderman Carver, I'm not trying to leave you out. Do you have any questions about that?
No, ma'am. I just think it is a noble thing to do, and it's the right time. And we'll talk about it more Tuesday night. But I guess I was impressed with the city workers who did take reduction in pay or hours. So, no, I'm in agreement. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The other item that coming up under board business is the street maintenance program that we dealt with at a work session, and we got no feedback from. So if there's anyone who has anything between now and then, I want to leave it off consent. So if there's something else that happens between now and then, now that we're putting it in front of everyone to rethink it, then we can talk about it on Tuesday night. But I would like to see it go forward. So that's the reason it's back on here, is because I think we've had plenty of opportunity to take a look at it. So, all right.
It's great to be planning instead of being reactive.
Yes,
So
it is,
it's a good thing.
and I think that's one of the things that this board should be proud of, is that we have been very forward thinking in taking on things that, as opposed to just reacting to things. Okay, so under airport, we have work authorization for replacing the AWAS equipment and related site improvements, and I think that's coming under a grant, so consent on that one for everyone, okay? And then they are making improvements to the terminal building, which, and I'm not quite sure, they have funds in their budget to do this, and I know the airport board has passed off on it. So, any issues with consent on that one?
Consent.
Okay. Under planning, we've got final plat approval for aggregating 2 lots, and this.
Mayor, I'm sorry, under that airport business, item 2, that is a family member. I'm gonna have to recuse myself, so we can't put that on consent. I just found out about that.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know, then we will take that off, and I appreciate
Yes.
that. Help me remember on Tuesday night, please. I'll make a note, but that's not to say I'll remember it, so if you would be so kind.
Yes,
to let me
ma'am.
remember, thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, sir. Under planning, we've got a final plat aggregating 2 lots, which is no controversy to this at all, is that right,
No,
Dr.
it
Kim?
is Mr. Charlie Morgan's project. He,
Right.
requested earlier about the many variances, and we had a step and they had the discussions, and every issue has been solved. One thing left is combining 2 lots into one. This is the combination of 2 lots. So,
Okay, but this is what we looked at before, and they came back and resolved all the issues that we had.
yes.
Okay, all right. Consent for them?
Consent.
Okay. All right, under engineering, and we have Edward here for any questions. This is acceptance of the low quote for the sidewalk project. This is a sidewalk project going up Old West Point Road. This was the one that Mr. Anthony, part of Mr. Anthony's project, and we are taking it upon ourselves to do it because it was never able to get done through the normal process. So we have taken the bond, or the letter of credit, or the cashier's check. It was a cashier's check, and we are moving it forward ourselves. So this is us overseeing that project. So consent on that one?
Consent.
All right, thank you. Construction engineering inspection for the same project, is that correct, Edward?
Yes.
And I thought it was not Springer. Is it Springer doing
Yeah,
that?
Groundstone is the contractor, Springer is the.
Springer is the engineer?
Engineer.
Okay.
The oversight.
Okay.
and testing.
All right, thank you.
Consent.
Consent on that. All right, design services, this is the Sportsplex overflow parking lot. What we have done is taken a look at, we have funding from the bonds that we issued, and this is an opportunity for us to take that parking lot and begin to do some construction, and so it's usable during the wet seasons, and it allows us to go ahead and get a portion done of what's gonna need to be done. We're leaving a laydown yard and a construction entrance for when we begin the process of the Sportsplex improvements, but this gives us that parking lot that keeps us from having just constant gravel and mud and all the things that get tracked out on it. So this is an effort to wisely use those funds that we're gonna be spending in that way in any case. So, any issues with any of that?
As we dress up that area, and, you know, we've got the bike lanes and stuff, I know the school has issues with parking, and they've just, you know, we added an area for them to pull off, but now that they've gotten to where they pull all the way back to the entrance of the sportsplex, we're never gonna be able to maintain grass there as long as that's going on. Is there any options, or?
Well, and I think one of the things that we're looking at is, as we do this particular project, there may be an opportunity to have them queue into there as a part of that. And I know they are looking at changing the flow of their traffic at some point. So hopefully between the 2 entities, we'll be able to keep that from happening. But we filled in that area along Lynn Lane where they had rutted it up. And so we've done that part, and we'll try to keep that maintained. And then as we do this, then there's a chance for us to help them queue in and out during that time frame.
And I was there yesterday, and the ruts need revisiting.
Do they? Edward, would you have your guys take a look at that, please, sir? Okay. All right, Alderman Vaughn, any issues with that one for you? Okay, so we can consent that one? All right, thank you. Bill grant agreement and authorization, anything, I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here. Edward, would you help out?
The grant agreement is basically the document that's going to set forth basically all the rules of the game for us going forward. It's the pretty much guiding document for this entire project. It outlines all the milestones that we are obligated to meet per the USDOT requirements of the grant. It outlines all the financial aspects on who's obligating to pay what, the percentages, the match, that type of thing. It is what we'll use kind of throughout the rest of this project. So the grant agreement is a really important document. It's been under review from Federal Highway since early summer, and they're getting really close to finalizing it. And I'm hopeful that as soon as they do, that we can execute it, because all the funds that we've expended thus far on the project, the city's been paying 100%. The grant agreement has to be in place in order for reimbursement to occur. So we would want that to start the reimbursement process as quickly as we can.
So are we ready to submit all those once the
Yes.
Federal Highway folks have gotten this?
We've already kind of gone through the review with MDOT from a formatting and
Okay.
accuracy standpoint, so they should all be ready to submit all at one time. I believe we have 4 invoices so far.
Okay, all right. Any issues with any of that? Okay. All righty, and then we have a dozer surplus, so, and I don't even see a VIN number I have to read, just an SN number. Awesome. Okay. No, that's all right, that's all right. Okay, we have the claims docket, then we have, which obviously is not consent, lowest quote for financing from Bank First. And Lisa, you want a King Cobra aerial fire truck and pumper truck. Anything particular about this one that we need to?
No, I don't think I put it, it is, it's over 10 years. The fire trucks themselves, the 2 trucks, should be in it within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And the total cost is, on the 2 trucks, is gonna be about $2 million. The remaining amount is, I have worked with, the fire department has a committee, but that'll be funding the Jaws of Life, the large fans, all of the parts and accessories.
Okay, those additional pieces that normally go with the fire
The
truck.
expensive additional
Yeah,
pieces.
Yes.
The
Yes, the
less
big- the big
expenses
items,
will
the
just get
large items.
purchased.
Right.
But they'll need it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, gotta have them.
Okay, all right, so we will
The
consent.
1.5% interest was really
But
good.
yeah, that's
Top notch.
about as much as you can ask is to get an
We had
interest
a
rate of
lot
1.5%.
of local banks that showed interest.
Okay. All right, consent on that one, and then the Vice Mayor has asked for an update on the new fire trucks, which he has asked for the chief to be brief on, and I'll make sure that, that we understand that as a part of it, so it'll be a brief narrative. Memo of understanding to accept a grant, any issues with that for anybody? Consent on that, okay. Under HR, we've got authorization to hire for linemen in the utilities department, no issue to my understanding with that one, consent for that. Maintenance work for sanitation environmental services, Mr. Ware, you're good with all of that?
Yes,
All right, consent for that. And hiring an entry-level firefighter, chief is not here, but we are in need, so assuming there's no issues coming up between now and then, we'll consent that one. Parks, this is the software, Mr. Doherty, you wanna speak to what this software will do for us?
So it takes us from doing manual work and puts it on a mobile set. It's gonna mirror, so the system that we suggest is the same system that the city's using for CivicWare on their website, social media platforms. This system will allow us in Gateway to do transactions with online registration and payments, so everybody can do it from their phone remotely. We won't have to create additional gateways. We'll be able to schedule real-time appointments for reservations on pavilions, and eventually the long-term piece of this will be the lighting system we'll be able to do through this same type of system. So Musco at Cornerstone has a lighting program that goes directly through Civic Recreation, and we can turn lights on and off throughout that complex. And as we move forward with the sportsplex, we're going to try to get those lights also integrated into the same system. So it's kind of an all-inclusive opportunity for us to go from a manual operation into more mobile. Right now, the only thing that we have is this SI, which is youth sign-up, and we're paying a fee for every transaction. Annually, we're paying about $7,000 a year for that in fees. This will be an annual cost at $4,500 a year after the startup. And so there'll be a bit of a savings, and it does all the other stuff. So we'll even have a park and rec platform when people visit us. We'll have all the stuff lined out, so it'll be really nice for us.
Okay, can we retrofit the lights at JL King to it, or are they
We're gonna
too?
try to.
Okay, so all the lights will be,
So
we'll try to,
anything that- yeah,
And
anything that would be
McKee.
within that Musco
Yeah.
system that would support that, we can do that for
Okay.
any lights, yeah.
okay, all right, so all of our lighting systems, excellent, that'll be great, because that's always a cost.
Yeah.
All right, consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Police mobile video recording body work cameras, this is the system that we planned on for, as part of our budgeting, so
Mhm.
consent on that one?
Consent.
All righty, and we have, let's see, 23 front-load containers, Mr. Ware?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and are these replacements, I assume?
Yes, they're all replaced.
Okay, all right, consent for that?
Consent.
All righty. Purchasing two 2020 Dodge Ram 1500 crew cabs, and this is for what, Mr. Ware? What are we doing with these, these replacements?
These are replacement of the two that we surplus out, so yes, these
Okay.
are replacement.
Okay,
Consent.
all right. And then replacing the impeller on the street sweeper. Our street sweeper went out a few days ago at a terrible time, because this is the fall when leaves are in, so we're down to one street sweeper. So it should be back Wednesday, so
Consent.
consent on that. Yes, sir, thank you.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
on our recycling, cost of fence, are we gonna have to bid that? Is that sole, I mean, it's not sole source, what on our, potentially for the.
We'll have to get a couple of quotes, because it's gonna be under 50, so we'll get a couple of quotes.
So we'll, at some day in the future, we'll
Yes.
have that on there.
Yeah. All right, utilities, we have surplus again, there's my VIN number, so we consent that one.
Consent.
Source of supply is the typical thing that we do this time of year
Consent.
for that, consent. Lowest and best bid for rehab of the Trim Cane lift station, and looking forward to making that happen too. Consent on that one, thank you. Lowest and best quote for body work for a truck utility bed, and I asked Mr. Kemp about this, the bed is gonna be, go to a truck that is, or back to the next two, or both utility beds, to add the ability to carry things and manage items on the truck, and he said the trucks are new enough that the beds are worth making the investment in for the truck. So consent on those for everyone.
Consent.
And then last but not least, it's going to be a power connection to purchase a pump automation controllers for the wastewater Hawk SCADA system. And Mr. Kemp is not in the room, so I'm going to have to take that one on faith. Any reason not to?
Mayor, I'm here if that would help.
Oh, well, okay, well, if there's any question, Mr. Kemp is with us, so I thought you were gonna be out, Terry, sorry.
Well, I'm fine. I was joining in by remote, but those are part of our overall SCADA system that's been in place for years and years and began to fail.
Okay.
So this really allows Thomas and wastewater to monitor all of our lift stations.
All right, thank you very much. Consent for that, everyone? All right. That takes us to one item for potential litigation. Ms. Harden has provided you the envelope that goes with education on that one. And we will hopefully be able to have a very quiet meeting so we can all get out and monitor the national news.
And the state news.
And the state news, that's right. We've got lots of things Tuesday that's happening. So if there are no further discussion or questions from anyone? No? All right. We will call this meeting adjourned. Alderman Carter, thank you for your attendance. Mr. Latimer, have a great weekend. Hope you feel
Yes, ma'am.
well.
Y'all too. Thank you so much. Good to see y'all.
All right, bye-bye.
I did talk to Robert Smith, and I called him and said something
Okay.
about it.